WWE Saturday Night's main event results, grades. Analysis, Seth Rollins' injury overshadows Gunther beating Goldberg. Hello everyone, welcome my channel, subscribe please. The 40th edition of WWE Saturday Night's main event took place Saturday night at State Farm Arena in Atlanta. The card was headlined by a World Heavyweight Championship match between Gunther and Goldberg, billed as ladder's final contest ever. Overshadowing all of the in-ring action, though, was what appeared to be a serious-looking knee injury to Seth Rollins, one of the most important and talented performers on WWE's roster. Near the end of Rollins' match against LA Knight, the penultimate bout of the evening, Rollins went for a springboard moonsault, which Knight evaded. Rollins landed on his feet, tweaking his knee and immediately falling to the ground, clutching his leg. Rollins retreated to the corner and was checked on by the referee, Paul Heyman, and the ringside doctor. Rollins deemed himself okay to finish the match, which happened suddenly as Knight hit his blunt force trauma finisher and picked up the win. Rollins, who has a history of knee injuries, was seen being helped backstage while the broadcast was in commercial break. The main event match, Gunther vs. Goldberg, was one of the best of the latter stages of the legend's career. While not a technical masterpiece, there was compelling storytelling, and it was a fitting end for one of the most influential figures from the revered Monday Night Wars era of professional wrestling, with Goldberg ultimately losing to the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Elsewhere, Solo Sikoa utilized his numbers advantage to defeat Jimmy Uso to retain his United States Championship. Despite being in WWE for 15 years, it was the first one-on-one championship match of Uso's career, and he delivered nicely even in a losing effort. After Sikoa's MFT faction beat down Uso, Jacob Fatu stood tall by taking them all out and likely setting up a SummerSlam championship rematch. Saturday night's main event also set the stage for the next two major WWE shows, with Bianca Belair returning as the announced special guest referee for the Jade Cargill vs. Naomi no-holds-barred match at WWE Evolution on Sunday night, and the opening bout between Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton being a launching point for a celebrity-driven tag match at SummerSlam between the two longtime stars and their respective partners, Logan Paul and Jelly Roll. WWE Saturday Night's main event results, grades, and analysis. Seth Rollins' injury shocks fans while Gunther ends Goldberg's legacy. The latest edition of WWE Saturday Night's main event was packed with high drama, shocking twists, and headline-grabbing moments. But amidst all the action, one storyline overshadowed everything else: Seth Rollins' unexpected and potentially serious injury. Meanwhile, Gunther pulled off a career-defining win over none other than Goldberg, a match that might just mark the end of the Hall of Famer's in-ring career. Let's break down everything that went down match by match, with results, match grades, and major backstage insights, and of course, all the buzz surrounding Rollins' condition. Match 1: Drew McIntyre vs. Shinsuke Nakamura. Result: Drew McIntyre wins via Claymore kick. Grade: B. In a fast-paced opener, Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura delivered a hard-hitting, back-and-forth encounter. Nakamura focused heavily on targeting McIntyre's ribs, but the Scottish Warrior powered through with signature intensity. A well-timed Claymore kick sealed the deal for Drew. Post-match, McIntyre signaled to the camera, saying, "I'm coming for the world title." Could he be next in line if Rollins is sidelined? Match 2: Seth Rollins vs. Finn Balor. World Heavyweight Championship. Result: match ruled no contest due to injury. Grade: A for drama, D for ending. This was supposed to be a WrestleMania-worthy bout. Rollins and Balor brought their game for what fans hoped would be another instant classic, but halfway through the match, disaster struck. While executing a top-rope Falcon Arrow, Rollins landed awkwardly and immediately clutched his knee. The referee threw up the X sign, and WWE officials and medical staff swarmed the ring. The crowd went silent as Rollins was helped out of the ring. There was no announcement from commentary regarding the extent of his injury, but it looked serious enough to pause the match permanently. Backstage reports suggest that Rollins may have re-aggravated his MCL, the same knee he previously had surgery on in 2016. If confirmed, this could sideline the champ for months. WWE hasn't officially stripped him of the title yet, but sources claim an interim champion tournament may be announced soon if he's unable to compete. Match 3: Gunther vs. Goldberg. Singles match. Result: Gunther defeats Goldberg via powerbomb. Grade: A. Now this was the moment that changed everything. Goldberg returned with the usual intensity, steamrolling Gunther early on with brutal spears and even a jackhammer attempt. But Gunther proved why he's one of WWE's most dominant forces. Right now, he absorbed the punishment and methodically took Goldberg apart. The turning point came when Goldberg went for a second spear, only for Gunther to sidestep and send him crashing into the steel steps. From there, it was domination to powerbombs. Later, Goldberg was pinned clean in the middle of the ring. After the match, Gunther simply stood over Goldberg and whispered, "Legacy ends now." Social media exploded with reactions as this marked Goldberg's first clean pinfall loss since 2021, and many believe this might be his last match ever. Match 4: The Judgment Day. Finn Balor and Damian Priest vs. The Street Profits. Result: Judgment Day wins, grade B+ despite Balor competing earlier. He was cleared to wrestle in tag action, which puzzled many fans after Rollins' injury. However, Balor mostly stayed on the apron while Priest dominated the match. Montez Ford showed his usual flair, but a South of Heaven chokeslam put him away. This match felt more like a warm-up, possibly protecting Balor for future plans now that the world title scene is wide open. Match 5: Becky Lynch vs. Zoe Stark. No disqualification. Result: Becky Lynch wins via disarm her on a chair, grade A. This match was as brutal as it was emotional. The rivalry between Becky and Stark escalated to a boiling point, and WWE let them go wild with weapons. Kendo sticks, tables, and steel chairs littered the ring. Stark gave one of her best performances, nearly stealing the win after a brutal DDT onto a chair. But the man dug deep and locked in the disarm her, forcing Stark to tap out. Becky mouthed for Seth after the match, a subtle nod to her real-life husband and his shocking injury earlier. Match 6: LA Knight vs. The Miz. Result: LA Knight wins via BFT, grade B. This wasn't the most high-profile match, but it gave LA Knight another clean victory. Miz mocked the crowd, mocked Knight, and paid the price for it. Knight's momentum continues to build, and fans are clamoring for him to be pushed into the main event, especially with a possible Rollins vacancy. Backstage chaos after Rollins' injury. After the show went off air, several superstars were reportedly shaken up backstage. Multiple sources revealed that WWE immediately began rewriting upcoming Raw and SmackDown segments to reflect Rollins' uncertain status. Triple H was seen in deep talks with creative, and insiders claim that Gunther is now being considered as a top contender for the vacant title, possibly leading to a SummerSlam showdown. What's even more shocking, Goldberg was also seen meeting with officials and was overheard saying, "If this was my last, at least it was with someone real." Is that a confirmation of retirement? What we know about Seth Rollins' injury so far: while WWE has not made an official medical announcement yet, several backstage insiders have leaked that Seth Rollins may have suffered a grade 2 or 3 MCL sprain, which could sideline him for 8 to 12 weeks minimum. Rollins was reportedly taken to a nearby hospital for MRI testing immediately after the match. His absence would throw the entire world title scene into chaos. Already, names like Gunther, Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, and even LA Knight are being rumored as potential contenders. Fans are bracing for WWE to possibly vacate the title on Monday Night Raw or at the upcoming press conference. Match grades recap: McIntyre vs. Nakamura. The Rollins vs. Balor, A drama. D ending. Gunther vs. Goldberg, A Judgment Day. The Street Profits, B+. Becky Lynch vs. Zoe Stark, A LA Knight vs. The Miz. What's next after the shocking night? Saturday night's main event might have started like any other premium episode, but it ended in complete unpredictability. With Seth Rollins potentially out, Gunther now riding an incredible wave of momentum, and Goldberg possibly hanging up his boots for good. His next few weeks will be full of seismic shifts. Rumors already suggest that a world title tournament could be announced as early as next week, with semifinals to be held on Raw and finals at SummerSlam. Could this be Gunther's time to finally ascend to the top of WWE? Or will WWE shock the world again with a returning superstar like Randy Orton or even CM Punk stepping in to claim the throne? In one night, WWE lost a champion, gained a monster, and said goodbye to a legend. Fans will never forget this edition of Saturday night's main event, not for the wins or the promos, but for that single moment when Seth Rollins clutched his knee and everything changed.